Hello. What's up, everybody? So, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted because all of a sudden when I went live, like, my shit zoomed in. But why? But why? Hmm. Okay, well, anyway, what's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday. I am a little late. I don't really have a good excuse. Just is what it is. Um, what I wanted to talk to you about today, two things really. But the first one is let's give you when I say a quick win, let's give you some things you can implement right freaking now, right? So we're going to talk about being the expert. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you've heard me talk about this. And really, if you've been following a lot of people, a great number of people, you're going to hear about being the expert and positioning yourself as the expert. Super crucial, super key. Because why would somebody buy from you or invest with you if they don't think you're an expert in what you do? Right? We don't work with people that are like, okay, or they kind of know what they're doing. We want to work with the best of the best. And so there are a lot of really simple things you can do to position yourself to be that expert, because the truth is that you already are. So step one is you have to believe that, right? You have to believe that you're an expert in what you do. And it's not about how long you've been in business. And I've talked about this before. That means squat, right? Chances are what you're doing, those are things you've been doing for a really, really long time. Maybe this is the first time you're doing it in a business and you're getting paid to do it, but you need to know and truly believe that you are the expert, right? So that's step one. And then once you get past that, now it's getting you to show others that you're the expert. And there are so many small, simple things you can do, you guys, right? And pretty much a huge majority of this is content-based content that you can create yourself. And the reason that's so key is because you're in charge of that. Okay. You can also be the expert going on people's podcasts and doing trainings, or excuse me, going live in other people's groups and publishing articles. You can do all of those things. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. But that's not 1,000% in your control, right? Somebody is going to have to invite you or approve you to come on their podcast or ask you to write for them or accept a submission, so those things are great. And I very much encourage those, if those are in your wheelhouse and things you want to do. But I really want to talk about the things that you can control, and that's going to be the content that you generate. Okay. So first way that you can go live. All right. First way that you can go live. Let me get a little bit more caffeine in my system. One of the first ways that you can show everyone that you're the expert is in the content that you post, okay? And I mean specifically with a very, very, very set intention, right? So it's great to post content that people, that they love, that they share, that they resonate. Like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But really, if you're positioning yourself as the expert, you're teaching them something in that post, in that piece of content, in that moment, right? So what are some quick wins that you can give people? And I do mean super quick, okay? What is something that you can give someone or teach someone that can make a difference that day for them? They may not see the results immediately, but they can implement that day, right? So what I'm doing here for you guys right now, this is a quick win that you can implement. This is a way for me to position myself as an expert, because I am an expert. And because one of the things that I am an expert in is getting you to go bold and brazen in your business and branding, right? Because that means you get to go bigger and louder. That means you get to get in front of more of those holy girl clients so you can actually convert them, okay? So think about that for at least, I'd say, depending on how often you're posting, maybe look at a third of your post, right? And make sure that at least a third of those posts, you are teaching people something, okay? And I would also encourage you to use a variety of methods to create that content, right? Yes, written posts, that's great. If you do a blog, that's great. I'm going to push video, as I push video with every one of my clients, as hard as I possibly can. Because this right here, this is really where it's at, okay? Doesn't mean you do only video, although I guess you could. But it does mean that video needs to be a part of it. And if you're only, whether it's pre-recorded or live, if you're only doing that once a month, that's not enough, okay? If that stresses you out, shoot for once a week. And a tip that I actually gave a client earlier that I think can be really beneficial, especially if video is outside your comfort zone. Don't worry about getting on there and teaching for 10, 15 minutes or even 5, okay? Get on there and do a quick 30-second, hey, make sure you check out blank. Hey, I got a blog post coming up. Hey, I just made this post about this. Have you seen it? Right? Do either like teaser posts, like teaser videos. This is coming out tomorrow. Make sure you look at it. Or do like a post that a video post that redirects people to content that you've just created. Okay. Another thing that you can also do with video, and this is something that it's going to take a little bit to get into training your brain to think this way. Let's say that whatever you're doing, if you find something out with a client, if you see something in an article, something that immediately catches your attention and lights you on fire, either because it's wonderful or because this is horrible advice. Okay, my challenge to you would then be get your phone out right then and there, flip that camera, and be like, y'all, I just read this article, or I just had this session, or I just experienced this, and I had to jump on here just super quick and say, blah, 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 blah. Like, I keep seeing this. Please don't do this instead. Or I just had this epiphany and I wanted to share it with you so you can have it too, right? I just read this and you need to check out this resource. Really think about when things, again, when they really get you fired up, it's an epiphany, it's an aha moment, whatever, share those with your people, okay? There is no such thing as giving out too much free content. I genuinely 1,000% believe that, because the reality is people aren't buying you for your content. They're buying you for you, okay? And the other piece of that is, and I try very hard to constantly live in an abundance mindset. And I don't mean that from just a straight woo-woo perspective, okay? I mean that in genuinely believing that I have enough time, I have enough resources, and that there's plenty for everyone, okay? What I also see, and we're like this psychologically, if I'm giving you guys epic stuff for free, what the fuck am I going to give you when you pay me? Right? Like, holy shit, she's giving this away for free. What is it like to work with her one-on-one? How much better does this shit get? Yeah? Me giving stuff away for free does not mean that I'm going to not book a client. It's actually the reverse, okay? So don't be afraid to give away stuff for free. And you know, again, give your people wins. Give them a reason to trust you, right? And when they do what you tell them to do, and it's a win, all of a sudden, this dude, this girl, this chick knows their shit. That's the goal. Yeah, and Sarah, I think a lot of people share that. What Sarah said, if you're watching a replay or not looking at the comments, is, you know, that worrying about how she's going to look. And, you know, for her, that means solving it by doing that stuff in the morning. So, you know, her hair and her makeup, and then she'll feel better about that. I can't tell you where to be on that level. I can't tell you where your zone of comfort should be. I've been rocking the no makeup thing for a really, really long time. It doesn't mean I don't ever do my makeup, but that started when I was still teaching, because I had to be at school at like 6 a.m. and no. And I'll be real honest, and my fellow glasses wearers can attest to this, the glasses make a huge difference. Okay, for us girls that don't want to wear makeup, when we put glasses on, it's a whole new thing. If you're hearing that sound in the background, by the way, we have increased the size of our zoo and our menagerie, and we now have 2 bunnies. And so you're hearing one of them just get after their water, which has now stopped as soon as I started talking about it. But yeah, whatever you need to feel comfortable, if for you that means you need to, you know, be dressed a certain way, have a certain amount of like effort put into your appearance, which straight up, y'all, I woke up, I put my hair in a ponytail, I put my glasses on, and I got dressed. That's what I did. Some days I'm like, ugh, like I feel like I need to do something with myself. I think what's crucially important though is when you do video, I think there is something to be said for showing up as you show up every other day in your business, right? If I got all done up for all of these lives and then you got to work with me one-on-one and you're like, oh, she doesn't do that. It's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker, but this is how I show up to work naturally every single day. So that's what you're going to get. Yeah? Because I'm going to show up to your client calls like this. Just like this. Yeah? When you see videos in my courses, I'm probably going to look like this. Because this is me. Yeah. So yeah, video, video, video. What quick win can you give them? Think about the intention in your post. What do I want them to learn? And here's the other thing too, guys. If you're not creating content and asking yourself what the purpose of that post is, start doing that, right? Everything you create should have intention. Everything. Yeah, even my Monday Punday posts have intentions. Part of the intention is to make you laugh, and hopefully they do that. But the other piece is to, yes, make you laugh and bring some levity into the week, but then also to tie it into something that's real. Yeah. And Sarah said, I need to do it because I feel a hot mess. Girl, I get it. And you are not alone. And here's the thing I want all of you to understand. However you feel comfortable being on video, that's the right way for you. Period. Just because I don't wear makeup doesn't mean that you shouldn't. And just because someone else feels like they need to wear makeup or dress up or do their hair doesn't mean that you have to. How are you going to feel most comfortable on this side of the camera? Because that's what's super crucial, because if you're not really comfortable and confident, that is going to come across in your video. Okay. And part of that's just, if you're not comfortable with video in general, it's just going to take you some time, but you got to actually practice it to get better at it. Okay. And the other thing too, by the way, let me throw this gem in there. I always tell people, whatever you're authentically feeling, particularly if you're uncomfortable or getting on video is outside that comfort zone, don't hide that. Lean into it. I'm actually even for calling it out and saying to people, okay, this is my first live or whatever. I am super nervous. This is usually not my thing, but I have something that's important to share with you guys, and I wasn't going to let that get in the way. Just be real with your people. Yeah. And so that way, if they notice maybe some, insecure vibes or less than confident vibes, they're not going to attribute that to, oh, they're not comfortable about what they do or what they're teaching. No, it's just acknowledging they're not super comfortable being on video yet. There's no reason to not fully lean into that. If you make a mistake, like I do on lives all the time, right? If you're recording it, you can stop the recording and start over. You can also just leave it and go, what just happened there? Yeah. We don't trust people that are perfect because we know it's bullshit. Yeah. So lean into all of that. And so my challenge to you, and I put this challenge to a client today, my challenge to you would be try to get 2 videos out a week, right? One of them being that you're teaching something, right? And that could be 2 minutes, you guys. It doesn't have to be super long. And then the other video, 30 seconds or less. Either previewing something, teasing something, directing people's attention to something. Because when you think about it, 30 seconds is easy. Any of us can do that. But you're still putting out 2 videos a week. And that's a huge, huge, huge jump forward, I know, for a lot of you. So do that. And if you have questions, or stop, pause, hold up, wait a minute, put it in the fucking group. Post it in the group and ask people for feedback. Ask them, be like, okay, I'm super nervous and I don't think this is good enough to post, right? Katrina said I can go live in my group, no problem, but on my profile I get super nervous. That's really interesting to me, Katrina. Do you know why? Have you explored why you might be nervous on one versus the other? Yeah. And if it's that you only feel comfortable going live in your group, then do that. Yeah. Then it becomes about a different type of strategy of making sure that we're growing that Facebook group and that you're getting all the right people in there. That's where I'm at. I had somebody ask me the other day why I don't post, why I don't go live on Instagram anymore. Yeah. And it's because all of my energy is focused on you people right here. This is where I choose to focus 99% of my energy, my time, my effort. Yeah. And so Katrina said she hadn't figured out quite why yet. So that might just be something for you to explore, right? Ask yourself, okay, what's the real difference here? Is it because sometimes we're more comfortable in front of strangers than we are our own people. And that's totally normal and valid, right? Is it because your group, hopefully they're in there because they believe you're the expert. So there's already a level of trust that they're willing to give you and they don't know you. Maybe it's that your personal page, those people know you a little bit more. And I think that it's really, really valid and natural for us to have a fear that, someone who knows us is either gonna, they're not gonna believe us when we try to talk about something. They don't see us as an expert. They see us as, little Momo from third grade or my little cousin or just whatever the case is. So yeah, I would explore that a little bit. See what those differences are, because once you know them, then you can decide for yourself. Okay, is this just something that I just don't need to do, posting on my personal? Because I don't, I don't usually go live on my personal page. I almost always go live in this group right here. So there's no right or wrong there either. But yeah, position yourself as the expert, okay? Here's another quick one that you can do. I see a lot of my clients that are really great at sharing information and disseminating other resources that they come across. But if you're only sharing other people's content without putting your expert opinion in there, then you're just a resource. You're a wealth of information, but that's not the same as positioning yourself as an expert, right? So that doesn't mean don't share things. That's not what I'm saying, okay? If you want to share something, make sure that the caption is you. Stumbled on this article today. This is something that, I know that I teach my clients all the time, XYZ. What I love the most is that they talk about this, and that is absolutely true. But just putting that stamp of you on there, again, why are you sharing it? Okay? What do you want them to learn? Because whatever you want them to learn, put that in the caption so they know what their end goal is. I am reading this article because I'm going to learn this. And I'm learning this because so-and-so told me. You may be sharing someone else's work, but you're the one that told them that it was true and accurate, and you're backing it and you're endorsing it, and it's worth learning, right? So always be thinking about that. That doesn't mean teach in every piece of content. Nobody wants to see that either. Yeah. Share those things like about you that are personal and all that stuff. But always make sure, go through your content, do a super quick audit, look at your content for December of last year, right? How often did you position yourself as the expert? How often can someone walk away with what you posted and go, I fucking learned something? And then redirect and address and tweak from there. Yeah? So that's my main thing. The second thing that I just wanted to throw in here, right? Because it's been a huge win for me, and I wanted to share it because I also, if anybody feels like they needed this little push to do the same, I wanted to be able to offer that. I think it's totally, it's totally normal for us when we start businesses, especially if you're in my generation. So anybody that was really born really before the 90s, but I was born in 81, so any of us, the true Gen Xers, and if you call me a millennial, I might have to punch you in the face. I am not a millennial, I'm a Gen Xer. I feel really strongly about that. But because of how, my brain's working faster than my mouth. Because of how we grew up, right? Which was, it was the traditional, right? You go to school, you go to college, you get your degree, you graduate, you get a good job, you get married, that was the path. That's what success was supposed to look like, okay? And so because of that a little bit, to whereas there are plenty of millennials, yeah, who are really good at going, I'm going to start this business, and just being open and letting it take its own organic growth and path. Some of us that are a little bit older, that's harder for us, right? Even if we're open in the beginning, we end up kind of attaching ourselves and going, oh, this is what my business is going to look like. I'm going to focus on this. And when we focus on one thing, we shut the doors to everything else, right? So recently, and I mean probably end of November, early December, I, in not a negative way at all, threw my hands up and went, okay, I'm done trying to figure this out. I'm done trying to figure out what my business should look like now, or in a year, or in 3 years. There are a lot of different ways that I can serve my clients, and I'm just going to focus on showing up every day. Sorry, my husband's moving boxes in the hall. There's a lot going on around here. I'm going to show up every single day. I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to serve, and I'm going to look for additional opportunities. How can I best serve you? What can I do that serves you? And from that point on, I have surrendered everything else, and I am open. I am open, right? Do I still want to do the mastermind? Absolutely. And I'm going to, because I've run the beta and it was phenomenal. But if I don't get it full right now, that's okay. And when I did that, and when I literally just surrendered and focused on showing up and serving, and that's it. Because the other thing I've done, all props to this goes to Dr. Stevie Dawn. I have taken win out of my expectations. Okay? There's nothing wrong with setting goals. But for me, attaching the win is a problem. Because if I say my podcast is going to be up and running by Q2 and it's not, even if it's because it genuinely wasn't the right time, that feels like a failed goal to me. So instead, it's I'm going to start my podcast. And as long as I'm doing things daily, weekly, whatever it is to move myself closer to that goal and move the needle forward, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. And I believe that in just a life perspective. And I also happen to believe that because of my faith and because of what I believe spiritually. But when I showed up, right, I just showing up and serve, show up and serve, show up and serve. I booked 2 new one-on-one coaching clients. I booked 2 design clients, which I haven't done in a while. And I got my first course up. I don't think any of those things would have happened if I'd stayed focused on only one area. The only caveat to this is I do understand that you can't do everything, right? The design part I'd already had in place from a long time ago. I spent 2.5 years as an expert brand strategist and creative designer. I was already doing one-on-one. And so it was really just allowing myself, because, there are plenty of people that would tell me, get your one-on-one totally booked out before you do anything else. And there's validity in that strategy. But it didn't work for me, right? Because my people that I want to help are in different places and need different things. It all ties back to my role as an expert brand strategist, every single piece of it. But after that, what they need from me is different. And if I focus on showing up and serving, then the right people will find their way to me. And I love it. I love not doing the same thing all day, every day. That's a me thing. So that was just something I wanted to share with you guys that I did. It has really, really, really been a blessing. And that's what I tend to do forever in my business, is just show up and serve. And then things will come to me the way they come to me. The right people will be attracted to me, and I will be able to serve them, whether it's through free stuff like this, it's through a course, it's through a high-ticket mastermind, it's through a group program, it's through one-on-one program. I will be able to serve them. So be the expert, and don't be afraid to just show up and serve and make that your focus point for each and every day. As always, you know how to find me. If you're watching the replay, you have questions, pop them in here. I would love to answer those for you guys. If there's something that you feel you're really needing from this group that you're not getting, comment, send me a direct message, whatever that is, so that I can make that happen for you. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and we will chat soon. Later.